Hi, my name is Franceria Moore with the Prosperity Agenda, and welcome to Coaching Up Close, our mini webinar series designed to work some quick tips into your busy schedule to help you improve your coaching skills. But first, let me introduce TPA. We are working to end persistent poverty by changing the way that we think about, build programs for, and coach families under financial stress. Coaching is, of course, a big part of our DNA, and we work with organizations all over the country on their coaching programs. Before I jump in, if you're joining us live, we'll have a live question and answer session at the end of the webinar, so save those questions. And as a note, please feel free to view this video and past Coaching Up Close videos with your colleagues and anyone interested in incorporating coaching into their work with families and communities. You can do that by visiting us on our YouTube page at the Prosperity Agenda. And you can also visit us at our website, www.theprosperityagenda.org, to register for these webinars and many other upcoming events and webinar offerings that we have through the Prosperity Agenda. Okay, now let's get started. Today's session is about shifting power to participants. Family-centered coaching is a philosophy of respecting the voices and experiences of participants, and it must be built into your core values and practices to see lasting change. The idea of sharing power with your participants is not one that is fleeting. It must be intentional. You must do intentional things in order to begin to share power in a responsive and effective way. Shifting power to the participant requires a practice and a support for coaches. It takes time. And it takes aligning your organizational mission and goals with the mindset of valuing participants. That's a really, really big ask. Some of you may be organizational leaders. Some of you may be actual practicing coaches working one-on-one with participants. And you might be wondering, well, what are the things that I can do to begin to help shift power to the participants? Well, I'm glad you asked that. In one of our case studies that we completed with our partner, Brighton Center in Newport, Kentucky. Thank you, Brighton Center, for working with us and helping us do some learning. We learned about 6 steps that organizations can take in order to center families and begin to shift power to the participants. I'll make sure that I add that link to the description box below, as well as to the chat box. Today, I'd like to focus, however, on 2 things that you can do on an individual level to begin to shift power to families. The first one is, and I know this is going to be very, very profound. I hope everyone has their pen and paper ready. The first one is acknowledge your power and responsibility to serve. That's the first one. The first thing that you have to do in order to begin to shift power to participants is acknowledge that you hold power in the first place. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, whether known or unknown, simply because of the fact that you are a practitioner, there is an inherent sense that there is a power dynamic that exists. And so rather than denying it, we have to, one, recognize that there is power that exists in that dynamic. We can begin to shift that, but we must first recognize the way that the system has been set up in order to prefer some and to also say to others, you don't quite have it. Okay, this is to say that you, as the practitioner, as the coach, as the therapist, as the case manager, that you hold the level of experience and understanding and knowledge and expertise that the family does not have, that the participant does not have, and may not be capable of ever having. We know that that's not the truth. And so if that is not the truth, we have to begin to acknowledge the power that we hold. And then we also have to work to become responsible for the power that we hold. That is to say that with the power that I hold, I recognize that it is not just me. I'm just one person in one organization, in one state, in one city. The fact is that you are a part of a collective that can bring power back to the center core families. So you making the commitment to acknowledge the power that you have and to also take responsibility for the way in which you use that power is a very, very important step on an individual level that you can begin to take to shift that power back to families. Okay, so here's what you might want to do in order to acknowledge the power that you're holding. The first thing is be willing to take the first step. I know for many of our programs, families reach out to us. They fill out some type of, program application, something that takes in their information. But it is important that when you have that meeting with that participant, that you are willing to take the first step, that you are willing to invite them in and acknowledge that they are creative, that they are capable, and that they are resourceful. And in fact, they do hold power in your session. They do hold power in this space, and they do hold power in the society as a whole. And that their voice is going to be paramount in the way that you all proceed in the work that you'll do. By setting that tone early, by setting that tone often, you begin to shift the participants' expectation of how they will react and respond to you in a coaching session. So you're acknowledging not only the power that you have, I have an understanding of how to navigate this system. I have an understanding of how this particular program works or where these resources are, but you are also acknowledging for the participant that they too hold power and that together, collectively, you all can make an impact. Collectively, you all can make progress toward the goal that the participant has laid out for themselves. Okay. The last thing I want to say about acknowledging your power and recognizing your responsibility to serve is that the principles of trauma-informed care are so important here. Okay. As always, it is important that you're approaching this conversation, this acknowledgement of your power through a lens of trauma-informed care. That means that it is safe, that there's choice, that there's collaboration, that there's trust, and that there is empowerment. And we've done a full series on all 5 of those concepts of trauma-informed care in previous Coaching Up Close videos, so feel free to check that out. I want to quickly move us on. The second thing that you as an individual can begin to do in order to shift power back to participants. I don't know, this is a whopper. So it's a pretty long one. I hope you have your pen and paper ready. The second thing that you can do is check your mindset. 3 words, check your mindset. Anyone grow up here, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself? Anybody? Or is that just me? Okay. You have to be willing to check your mindset in order to shift power to families. Okay. What do you believe about yourself in this work? Do you believe that families are creative, capable, and resourceful? Or have you slowly kind of slipped your way into some stinking thinking, as my grandmother would say? All right. That negative mindset could be a result of the collective trauma that we're all experiencing. It could be a result of burnout. It could be a result of being, exhausted, tired, not having enough resources, not feeling like you have enough support. There are a lot of things that could lead to this type of stinking thinking and negative mindset when it comes to working with families, this fixing mindset where I'm a hammer and I see everything as a nail. Okay. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen that thing. I've seen that situation and I know what to do. And we've not taken any time to actually get to know the person in front of us. Okay. The one thing that we do know in coaching is that our brains are designed to create conclusions. And so in coaching, we don't start at the conclusion, we start at the relationship. But first, you have to be willing to check your mindset because your mindset will color everything about the world around you. It'll color what you're willing to do for someone, what you're not willing to do. It determines what you're willing to go all out for and what you might go, not so important. Okay. Your mindsets or your judgments determine whom and for what you're willing to shift and share power with. If you don't believe that someone is capable, creative, you believe that they're not resourceful, you're going to continue to offer them fixing. Okay. You're going to continue to fix it for them. You're going to continue to give them transactional programming to fix something that needs transformative change. Okay. And so if your mindset is not there, then you're not going to be willing to shift to that coaching mindset that provides scaffolded support until they reach a point of self-sufficiency. That's the coaching mindset. That mindset says, I believe that this person is capable, creative, resourceful. I believe that they know what's best for themselves and their family. I have put aside my judgments, my assumptions, and I believe that they know the best direction for themselves. When that mindset exists, when you truly believe that about the families you're working with, it becomes that much easier to shift power over. Here's the last thing I'll say about that. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I love her to pieces. But here's how acknowledgement of power and checking your mindset matters, even in my relationship with my 5-year-old daughter. I acknowledge the power that our vehicle holds. That's why I do not give my 5-year-old access to the vehicle for her to drive. That is not because of a judgment. That is not because of ageism. That is not because of any of that. It is because I am providing scaffolded support until she's able to drive herself. Okay. You have to be willing to acknowledge the power that you hold, be willing to take responsibility for how you wield that power. And you must check your mindset. Because again, your mindset colors what you do and who you're willing to do it for. It is truly how you see the world. It is how you value not only yourself, but those that you're working with. And so if you want to shift power to participants, you have to begin to shift your mindset. Well, that's all I have for you. Oh, not true. We appreciate the Brighton Center for helping us better understand how organizations can shift power to families. We are inviting you to reflect on these suggestions and consider how you can be a part of creating collaborative, trusting, and non-judgmental environments for families to set and achieve their goals. Remember, there is no one-size-fits-all approach to coaching, so be curious and patient with yourself and with your team as you work to identify ways to shift power back to families. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Join us next month for more coaching tips and resources, and be sure to stick around for the question and answer portion. And if you have any questions about our coaching training program, or if you would like to sign up for Coaching Up Close mini webinars, visit us at theprosperityagenda.org and check out our LinkedIn page. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Oh, I got a little ahead of myself. All right, everyone. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and pop those in the chat box. Let's see here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hi, Debbie. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Let's see. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay, let's see. We do have a question here. Okay, it's getting a little hectic in the chat box. All right. Could you speak to some specific examples, live action, where you have practiced shifting power? Absolutely. I believe in practicing shifting power at the beginning of every coaching session, at the beginning of every single session. I am a talker. This is what I do. If you hadn't been able to tell. And so one of the things that I do, because I know my personality, and remember that coaching is not the coaching nor the practice of coaching is a one size fits all thing. And so for me, I need to ground myself. And the first thing I do in a coaching session to shift power is ask them what feels important and necessary for us to work on today. That means even though Fran has an agenda, okay, because we have to come with an agenda, right? The job is the job, right? Even though I have the things that I think are necessary, I'm opening up the session, asking them what is important and necessary today for us to work on. What do we need to make progress on? As you see it, what do we need to make progress on today? You only ask that question of someone when you are expectant that they have an answer. Families have an answer. How many times are we asking the question? Okay. And so that's one thing that I do immediately to put me in that coaching mindset, to remind me that it's not my agenda that needs to come first, but it's theirs. Okay. And that after as I am listening to that answer, I am being present with them. I am hearing what they're saying. And then it becomes my work as the coach to figure out how to hold the process. Okay. How do I hold this process? How do I hold this time together so that they can land where they need to land? That is shifting power. That's shifting power. Imagine what that does for someone's executive function skills, for someone to literally hold the door open for them. Okay. Y'all know I like to talk about groceries, right? Carrying in all of the bags and someone holding the door open for you. That's what we're kind of talking about there. Okay, I'm trying to scroll up. I'm sorry. What are some helpful trainings which would indicate receiving a certification of attending a whole family coaches? Um, Well, we do have our learning journey here at the Prosperity Agenda. There's one that you can do. It's a whole family approach, family-centered coaching. You can go check out familycenteredcoaching.org. There's a full learning journey that goes along with that. We support organizations in the implementation of their coaching practice all the way through setting up a community of practice where your coaches and your supervisors and families can have a continuous system of improvement and hearing that feedback. So that's one that pops into my mind right away. Thank you for that question. Could you speak to some specific examples? Okay, I think I did that one. I hope that I didn't. Okay, hold on. I think I see one. I was wondering if you can speak more about the scaffolding approach or point to some resources on how to work on building this. Absolutely. Scaffolding is paramount in coaching relationships. You're scaffolding on multiple levels. You're scaffolding when it comes to the actual relationship that you have with that person, as well as providing scaffolded services. When we talk about scaffolded services, that means that I am giving you what you need. This is actually an approach to equity, right? At its bare bones definition, scaffolding is the outer ladders and structure that it's built on the outside of a building until it can support itself. So the idea is that I'm not giving you, it would be ridiculous of me to continue to give my 5-year-old baby food. Why? Because she's moved beyond that. Okay, she doesn't need her food pureed anymore. Scaffolding says that I'm going to give you this support for the time that you need it, and I'm going to also remove it when it's no longer necessary so that it does not become a crutch. The thing that makes it equitable scaffolding is that you are telling a person at the start that there will be an end. Okay, I am providing you with this support so that you can get to this point. And when we have achieved this point, we will remove this scaffolding, but that's not to say that there'll never be any other kinds of support, but we just won't do this anymore. Okay, that is a trauma-informed, equitable approach to scaffolding. You can go crazy and Google scaffolding and coaching. I'm sorry, I don't have any resources right off of the top of my head. If you email me and give me a few moments, I'm sure that I can think of a few articles that would help with that. Thank you for that question, though. I think we have one more. How do you see the role of a program manager or a supervisor in helping coaches in the practice of shifting power? Oh my goodness, Christine, that is such a great question. I think that the role of supervisors in helping to shift power is one that is focused on, well, it's kind of a split focus. It's one that is focused on helping families understand that they have power within your agency and organization, and two, helping coaches understand where their power lies and where the family's power lies, because they're not opposite of one another. It's space, there's room, there's a abundant space for minds. 2 minds are better than one, right? And so as a supervisor, I see the role as helping the coach understand that this is what your expertise is. Here's how you see the expertise of the family, and helping support them as those 2 levels of experience come together. And then on the other side, for the supervisors, it really just is about helping those families understand that they hold power in this agency, they hold power in this organization. If you go and read with Brighton Center has a whole, we learn from them the way that they collect data, the questions that they're asking about the experience, right? So it's not so much about it's not about the program, it's about how the program is delivered. And so family-centered coaching is a service service delivery mechanism. So you can lay that on top of your program. And the idea is that the program is the program, but the way that we deliver it is one that is family centered. And so in that, we have to have families understand that they have power. And we have to have a way of hearing that. So one of the things that is talked about in that case study, and I'm going to add the link to that now, is how they've set up a system of collecting information and collecting an understanding about the experience that families are having. All right. Here is, I didn't do it to everyone. Here is the link to the case study that we talked about. Okay, I think I caught all of the questions. There's the link to the case study that we talked about. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next month. One more Coaching Up Close in 2022, and we'll be into 2023. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next month. Bye.